Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us here today. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates, and we'll start out the show this week by talking men's basketball with head coach Todd Eisner. And I think wow is pretty much the only thing that I can say about the game against Northern State this week, the only game that you guys played. Another close one with Northern State. This time you guys came out with the win. Tell me what you thought about the team's play this week.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves, Justin. I mean, we just offensively and defensively the first half were just not very good. Let Northern do whatever they wanted when they had the ball and didn't really put much resistance. So, we're down 46 to 32 or 34, I guess, at the half. And along with that, offensively, we were really soft at the rim and missed a lot of easy shots. So, we talked at halftime. Obviously, if we weren't going to change the way we were playing, then we were going to get what we deserved. But if we could, fix a few things on both ends of the floor and offensively, we just needed to be tougher near the rim, execute with a little more detail. But more importantly, defensively, they just had to feel us a little bit more and get us to, make their possessions a lot harder than what we did the first half. And, I thought overall, even with Jackson Money getting 40 points, we did a much better job of that in the second half and really started that way. They had to call a timeout very similar to the Southwest game a couple of weeks ago, where we did a good job in that first media timeout of kind of getting back into the game, and but we had a lot more work to do this time. So did a nice job coming back and giving ourselves a chance there, obviously at the end.
So, what flipped the switch? Was it something you said? Was it something that one of the players said at halftime? What caused the change between the first half and the second half?
Yeah, I mean, I hope some pride. I mean, just at the end of the day, we're just everything was too easy, and if we're gonna go down, let's go down, playing at a high level and swinging, as they say, and if they are good enough to beat us, then they're good enough to beat us. But we didn't even give ourselves a chance to make them prove that they were going to beat us that day. We just, we talk about contesting shots and really committing to a hand reaching to the ceiling, and we weren't getting to shots, we weren't contesting at a high enough level, just in terms of our body type. And I just said, let's just make them earn, what they're going to get. And we did a much better job of that. We were much more committed to that in the second half. And whether that makes a big difference, I believe it does. Sometimes our guys, fall off, that commitment level a little bit, and our commitment level to doing fundamentally the things that we asked them to do was much better in the second half. And they shot 41% in the second half. So I mean, is there a correlation between that? I believe there is, but we just got to do it on a much more consistent basis, and proved obviously against Northern we can't do it for 20 minutes.
So obviously we have to talk about the last play of the game, which was the Connor Dillon 3-point shot. Walk us through that play and kind of where you were as a team, and what you were expecting to get out of that play. Was it a deep three like that?
Yeah, so we ended up in the same situation against them as we did last time. So they scored a basket tied, this time with a lot less time. I think when we played them at home, we had 3.5 seconds left. And so we actually drew up the same play that we did against Northern the first time. And it's a twin diagonal set. And probably thankfully for us, they saw our formation and called timeout. And so, probably with scouting us or remembering from the last time, they probably recognized that it was the same set. And what it did for me is it actually triggered to me that, okay, we have about half the amount of time that we had last time. We had 1.7 on the clock. And the last time I wanted to get Connor Dillon the ball in our backcourt and give him a chance for 1 or 2 or 3 dribbles. And he really got a clean look the first time we played him from about 30 feet, and we thought it was going in. And when they called timeout, I had him in that front diagonal where now he's going to have to take a half court shot to win the game. And, the chances of that aren't very good. And so with them calling timeout, it actually triggered something in my brain to put him in the second diagonal so that if we did complete the pass, he was going to catch it in the front court. And now it's still, we need a lot of luck to happen. But at the end of the day, it was going to be a 30-footer instead of a 50 or 60-footer. And that's what happened. We were able to execute that piece of it, which is Carson making a really good pass. We got it a little closer to the sideline than I wanted. But overall, those pieces worked like it was drawn up, and then it got lucky. And Connor made an unbelievable shot, especially to bank it in. and then the rest is a game one. So we did a nice job of executing what we drew up, and then we got lucky at the end, and we'll take it. We're not going to give it back, that's for sure.
So Connor Dillon ended up with 17 points and 7 assists. Obviously, Olumide Adelidun had the double-double, but then Declan Dillon, he gets closer and closer to that triple-double, which we kind of talked about last week when he was on the show, but 9 assists, 9 points, 4 rebounds. Uh, I mean, Declan has just played really well, and we haven't spoken too much about him, but how important is it? And obviously, Devin Whitelow is going to be the guest later on, but how important is it to have that kind of a point guard that's going to distribute, that is going to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers? And, he can score when he needs to. Obviously, we've seen that too. But how important is it to have that kind of piece on your team?
Yeah, he's really done a nice job here in the last couple of weeks of being more of the consummate point guard. I mean, we ask our point guards, want our point guards, and it's been still a growing process for Declan to try to create easy scoring opportunities for his teammates. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, get us into what we're supposed to be running, be a quarterback on the floor. But also, I mean, the number one job of a point guard, especially I guess with Declan, is can you get into positions where you're creating easy scoring opportunities for his teammates? And he's really done a nice job of that here over the last couple of weeks. And obviously to have 9 assists and 0 turnovers is outstanding. Connor had 7 assists and 1 turnover. So there's 16 assists and 1 turnover between the brothers Dillon. And, that was tremendous. Connor Drew had, I think, 18 points. So the other piece to what we've been doing lately is we've been having good scoring balance. So we had 4 guys in double figures, and that makes you hard to play against. So everybody knows Connor Dillon's going to be, option A for us. But if we can get Olumide and Connor Drew's back playing a little bit better, and Brock's certainly been a good piece. Now we've got those 4, and then Declan turns around and has 9 assists and can score like you mentioned. So it was just those 5 guys really did a nice job for us overall in the game on Friday night.
Do you feel coming into the last 2 games of the regular season that you're kind of a dangerous team right now? Not only because you have so many scoring threats, but because the assist numbers are so high. So a team that's going to be playing you can't necessarily just take out Connor Dillon. They can't necessarily just take out Olumide. They can't take out Brock Voigt, Connor Drew. They have to guard everybody because anybody at any time can score and they can get the basketball from their teammates. Do you feel like you're a dangerous team right now?
Well, I think every day is a new day for us. The first half of at Northern State, you would have not said that about us. I mean, we've got to become more consistent in terms of just playing at a high level, especially on the defensive end of the floor. We're going to run into 2 teams this weekend that we played very poorly against when we went up there middle of January. Didn't guard either of them. Crookston shot over 60% the second half and took that game from us, and then Bemidji game was just, is on that particular day, it was not a matchup that we had a chance in. We got beat by 30 or 35 or whatever it was. So, every day is a new challenge for us. We're playing better. It's the right time of the year to be playing better. But at this time of the year, you can't have any hiccups and you can't revert back to some bad habits. So we just got to really get our guys focused in on doing the things that we need them to do on both ends of the floor at a high level and let the chips fall where they may.
So, what is the message to the team for the games this weekend? Because you're going to be likely hosting a playoff game. There is a chance that you could get, up to number 4 and possibly get a bye, but that's kind of out of your hands. You have to win. Somebody else has to lose. So, what's the message for the team for these last 2 games this weekend?
Yeah, I think we just want to keep playing well. I mean, it's I'm not worried about, I'm not sure we can get to 4, but we certainly can get to 5. And it's just positioning yourself for the postseason. I think we're going to have a home game, and with all the tiebreaker situations sitting in front of us right now, but we want to be seated as high as we can be. There are some regional rankings coming out here in the last couple of weeks that I think we'll be involved in, but we'll probably be on the outside looking in. And so with that, you want to continue to win games and give yourself the best chance possible. So, and it's not a revenge situation for us based on how we played. It's a redemption situation for us. And we didn't play well against either of these 2 teams. Bemidji's playing very well. And then Crookston's got 2 guards that we couldn't stop the first time we played. And so we've got our hands full this weekend. It's just up for us to continue to play well and have momentum going into the postseason.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time this week and good luck this weekend in your home games.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate it.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk with Devin Whitelow. That's coming up right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates certified public accountants and advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates. And now talking with Devin Whitelow of the Warrior men's basketball team, now an assistant coach with the Warrior men's basketball team. Devin, thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate you having me on.
So let's go back a little bit and let's go back to when you went to Augustana for a year as an assistant coach. When did you kind of decide that you wanted to get into coaching? And how did you find your way to Augustana for a year?
So this story is actually kind of interesting. So right after we lost to Mary in that tournament game at home, I think I sat in the locker room for maybe 4 hours after the game. And I'm just, oh, man, I was distraught. Really thought we had a chance to do something really special in that postseason run and just didn't go the way we wanted to. But so after that, I was just thinking the rest of the next day, like, man, do I really want to get away from basketball right now? And playing wise, my body was just banged up, foot wasn't feeling good, so didn't want to play. So now I just thought back on conversations I had. And so when we went to our Kansas City event in November to start the year, I ran into Coach Builder from Augie in the breakfast line of the hotel. And he was kind of just asking me, like, my future plans, what I had going on. I'm like, I want to get into law enforcement. He's like, oh, I think that's great. You didn't think about coaching or anything? I'm like, nah, I don't really see myself coaching. And so he's like, okay, well, we're going to have a spot open up. So if you ever decide about it, like, hit me up after the season. And so that message kind of stuck with me. And sure enough, I emailed him. I think that next day, actually, he got right back to me. We set up a call. I think I went to campus in the next couple days. And then from there on, we just kind of decided that was going to be the spot for me. So it was a really good fit for me. I thought I like getting away for that year.
All right. Now, from just the couple interactions that I've had with Coach Billiter on the sidelines, he seems like a really good guy and obviously a great basketball mind. What did you learn from him about the game during your year with Augustana?
He taught me so much. Him and his staff just did a really good job of just welcoming me and just making me feel like I was actually a part of Augustana basketball, which I thought was important. From not knowing those guys, just to competing against them. That was the first thing I noticed was their competitive nature. So I think that's kind of how we drew our similarities. But I would say the biggest thing he taught me was just giving me, like, throwing me right into the fire, kind of how it was as a freshman playing here. As soon as I got there, we were out on the road recruiting. So, he let me handle recruiting responsibilities. I had the point guards there at Augie working with Jaden Graves, who's playing well this year for him too. So, just that aspect, they put a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and I was expected to get it done. So, I think that's where I'm best under pressure.
So then what was the decision to leave there and come back to Winona State? I imagine that was a really difficult decision kind of on both ends there.
Yeah, for sure. It was a really tough conversation I had with Coach B. And credits to him because he was very supportive and told me, like, this is something I couldn't pass up, especially this early in my career in coaching. So, we had that talk. He was very supportive. Winona's home for me. So, going back to my alma mater, like, it was kind of a dream come true. I just remember sitting in Malvik's office all the time, just before practice, throughout the day after class. And now I'm in that office and guys are doing that with me. So, it's kind of a full circle moment, and I really appreciate it and love every aspect of it.
So where does your law enforcement career go? Is that kind of in the back seat right now, and basketball is kind of front and center for you?
Yeah, no doubt. I love this coaching thing right now. Working with the guys, just being with them every day. I think this is something I really want to focus on and make it a career for as long as I can. So as long as we're winning games and I'm able to contribute to a team, I think this is something I'm going to stay in.
All right, so talk about your work with the point guards here at Winona State, because obviously we were just talking about Declan Dillon, and obviously everybody who handles the ball does a really good job here at Winona State. But tell us a little bit about what you've been able to teach Declan and everybody else on the team.
Yeah, so right now, Coach Eisner, he has me working with pretty much all of our perimeter style players. So our 1s through 4s. So like Alumide, I'm with him quite a bit too. I mean, each person's different. Like with Deck, we really just focus on making simple plays. Like I told him as a point guard, your brother's the best player on the team, which might be hard for you because they always argue. But we got to be able to find him and get him open without having to run sets. So like, you see those two with their backdoor actions, like that's just them playing. And I mean, that credits to Deck because Deck does a really good job listening and just, I mean, he's so competitive. He wants to win. So I mean, that part's easy. And then we're just trying to work with him on getting to his spots where he can score, where he's actually a threat. And I mean, Connor, that's the one. Him and Alumide, you kind of have fun with them because they're so skilled. So I mean, you can do a lot of things within their skill set that fits the way they play. So I mean, with all these dudes, I mean, we probably work out 3 times a week before games and just getting them game-like shots to where they're comfortable. Like with Connor Dillon, you're seeing the step backs. Like those are things he drills every single day. So it's not surprising in the game when he does some crazy stuff and he hits it. I mean, as soon as it goes up, I say, hey, it's going in. So I mean, it's really fun just to be able to implement what I learned as a player and kind of disperse it between whatever position group I'm working with. And so I mean, I have a lot of fun with these dudes.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us again, Devin, and good luck this weekend in your home games.
Perfect. Thank you, Justin.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll talk women's basketball with head coach Ana Wurtz right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates certified public accountants and advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
I'm a pretty calm, cool, and collective guy, but... Sorry, what's your name? Yeah, Evan. Hi, Evan. Yeah, we have no internet. Nothing. I don't know. It just stopped working.
The internet is down.
I know, I'm on the phone with them. No, that was my wife.
I can't get online again.
Yeah, I'm talking to Evan. No, my daughter, my wife. Okay, can you guys not talk? Sorry. Yes, we have the white boxes. I see one. They got horns on them.
The one with the horns.
Yes, I see one. We have 11 of those.
I was on the phone and I got disconnected.
Okay, it's not about you. We switched our broadband service provider. Like Devin put in 11, Evan. How are we supposed to know which one's 7 and which one?
I thought it was Devin.
Who's Devin?
I got no service. Honey, you're blocking.
You can't stand there. You're blocking it. Don't block it. And the best part, I never have to speak to Evan or Devin ever again.
I think this one's 11.
11? We're not looking for 11. No, are we looking for 7, Evan, or 11? We have 2 next to each other. That's bad. 2 white boxes. Evan?
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We are brought to you by Russell & Associates, and now switching to women's basketball with head coach Ana Wurtz. And Coach Wurtz, just one game this past week. That was at Northern State. Tell me a little bit about the game and what you saw from your team. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but what did you get out of that game?
Yeah, I mean, going into it, a lot of emphasis, obviously, on the defensive side to take care of their post player. And she averaged 20 a game, and we held her to 3 and really defended really well. We made her life more difficult, which was the plan. And so we executed fairly well on that side. So was happy with the way that we played on that side of the ball. But unfortunately, yeah, the offensive side. I mean, I had watched a lot of film going into that game, obviously with any team, but with Northern especially, I just wasn't finding easy ways to score against them. Not many teams have. So it was, you're going to have posts that step out and knock down some threes, or you got to hit some mid-range jumpers. Just the types of shots that you don't always go into a game planning for. That's kind of how people were beating them. And we kind of got hot right away, hitting some of those like pitches behind handoffs and ball screens, and got some baseline drives and stuff. But unfortunately, we just fatigue kind of got us, and we weren't able to keep creating those kind of looks.
Yeah, unfortunately, you kind of hit a swoon there in the third quarter, but you made a comeback in the fourth quarter and kind of made a game of it. Then talk about what your team put out on the floor there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I was very proud of them because, we were running a press that we've never even run. Really just kind of just a makeshift, get some pressure on them and make them uncomfortable. And then we were able to score quicker. We're playing with 5 guards a lot of times. So the matchup on the offensive side for us was a little different because they had to play a post player, or they played a post player that couldn't match with all of us. But yeah, I was really proud of how we just kept competing. It was fun. At least at one point they had to bring back in their starters, and it wasn't over. The game wasn't over. And I appreciate that. Anytime, the game's never over to me. I never believe that. And so I don't like hitting that point where all of a sudden they're just going to move forward like it's the end. And so I was proud of how we continue to compete and fight. And we really did show some battle back there.
So Maddie Shimmons was the only player that was in double figures, and she's the guest today. And we've kind of been talking about her kind of all season long with a lot of the players, just a lot of grit, a lot of tenacity to make their way out on the floor with some of the things they've been dealing with this season. Tell me a little bit about what you see from Maddie in her junior year this year. And I know we talked last week about the decision to have her on the floor or rest her, but just overall, what have you seen from her this season?
Yeah, I mean, she's somebody who's going to give you absolutely everything she has. And then we call it empty the tank. She's going to empty her tank. And she empties it a little quicker sometimes than other people, but that's because every possession and every moment is so important to her. If she's guarding the ball, it's going to be with a great intensity. Hands are going to be active. She just pours her heart and soul into every play. So she does. And when she's not able to get as many reps in practice all the time, like, she kind of empties it a little quicker then as well. Just because, we always say you got to work on filling your tank and learning how you're trying to make it grow. And she's not always able to do that. And that's the unfortunate part with injuries. And I was talking to her the other day. She's got to write some essay for something, and she was talking about how one thing you change about college basketball, and she was injuries. And I agree. I think you just never wish. I remember going back to the recruiting process with her, and she is just an incredible competitor, an incredible player that has just been dealt a very unfortunate set of cards every year. She just has something that just stops her from just really unleashing her full potential and just playing. So I'm glad, though, that she should have one more season left. So she'll be coming back next year, and that's going to be the one. I'm confident in that. And we just need to see her where she can just put together a full season and not be sidelined or told that she can't get extra reps up and all that stuff, because that's not her style. Her style is give everything I have. And unfortunately, with injuries, sometimes you just can't.
All right, let's talk about this weekend. Final 2 regular season games against Bemidji and Crookston, and you were able to beat Bemidji on the road earlier this season. Tell me what these games mean to this team, especially since there are playoff implications on the line. You have a game up on the teams that are below you, so if you do your job, you get 2 wins this weekend, you're in the playoffs. What does all of that mean for this weekend?
I mean, everything. You're kind of just playing for your life right now. You don't want this to end, and I don't want it to end. I love being around this group of people, and they do too. And we have a good group of seniors, quite a few that will be leaving us, and you just don't want to see it come to an end. So it's just, we've got to get something out of this weekend, get ourselves in the tournament, and let's see what we can do from there.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time, and best of luck in your 2 home games this weekend. And hopefully we talk about a playoff berth coming up next weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk with Maddie Shimmons. That'll come up right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates certified public accountants and advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
Welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Russell & Associates. Now we're talking with Maddie Shimmons. Thanks for joining us again today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit about how your season has gone. And I don't really want to focus on injury, but what I do want to focus on is you kind of willing your way back to the basketball court, because I want to, for anybody that's out there that wonders, what is it like to have to deal with all that you have dealt with this season and last season as well, what it takes to get on the court. Because what we've talked about with Coach Wurtz is kind of the decision whether to rest you or to play you, and how that kind of factors into everything. From your perspective, what is it like to get on the court this year?
I think the tricky part about basketball specifically is gauging getting back in game shape and limiting reps. And so one thing I've been focusing on is just trying to do everything that I can, especially keeping pounding off my body, whether that's like in the pool, on the bike, or visualizing reps. I think just focusing on not the things that I can't do, but the things that I can do. Again, when I'm sidelined, trying to just key in on certain plays or where mismatches lie, just to kind of keep me engaged and keep me thinking the game of basketball has been really helpful. So that's kind of the way I approach it.
All right. And as a student athlete, I mean, that's one of the things that you want to do is you want to be out there on the floor with your teammates. You want to play. You only have a limited amount of time to do this. So you want to make the most out of everything that you have. Talk about being able, having to limit your time in practice and then kind of flip the switch and turn it on for games. What is that like?
Well, luckily, I get to play with people who I love. We're a very close-knit team, so it makes it easy. I'm so excited for game day, as anyone is, but just getting to play with people who genuinely are your best friends makes flipping that switch easy. And Coach Wurtz is such a competitive coach, so she always brings that fire, so we have to match that. If we don't match that, we're not serving our purpose as players for her. So it can be hard to, go from not practicing to playing, but just playing with people I love, playing the game I love, and for coaches that I love is definitely makes that transition easier.
All right, let's talk about this weekend because there are two pretty key games. You got to win against Bemidji on the road earlier this season, and Crookston was a loss on the road. But you have them at home now, and there's a lot kind of riding on these games, playoff implications and everything, plus the end of the season. Tell me about the preparation for this weekend and what these games mean to you personally.
Yeah, these games mean everything. The NSIC is such a competitive conference. You never know who's going to beat who on any given night. Love having a set of home games for sure, especially because that travel can be pretty far to Bemidji and Crookston. So just looking to compete for a full game and putting a full game together, making sure we do all the things that are in our control. Obviously, we can't control whether the ball goes in the hoop or not that night, but defensively being sound, executing the game plan, making sure that we're rebounding, and again, just bringing that fire. I think that's what's most important going into this weekend.
All right, and Coach Wurtz was talking about there's a number of players that won't be returning for next season. So what is that like to be able to play for them to get one more game or one more series or that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's some people who I'm so close to with the grade above me. We've spent 4 years together, thankfully, because of the COVID year. And then Shrimp and Vanessa, Caitlin Shrimp, we call her Shrimp. Caitlin Shrimp and Vanessa, who are my grade. It's bittersweet just because we spent so much time together. It's flown by. Everyone says college does, but just college athletics even more so just flies by. So it means everything being able to go out there and compete with them and just really leaving it all out there for them. Because like you said, these games are very important this weekend. So it's nice being able to play for people who you love. So yeah, just leaving everything out there for them.
All right. And one last question. I know you have one more year left. So what do you do here at the end of this year to be able to build off of this and go towards the next season where hopefully you're on the court all season long? What is that like?
Just making sure we bring people into the gym, not going alone, and make sure we just bring other people with us, whether we're building a post guard connection or just a team connection in general. The off season seems long, but it always comes up quick. So I didn't get to participate in a lot of last year's postseason stuff because of the surgery that I had. So I'm looking forward to a hopefully full spring here. And then the summer, I know I'm staying in Winona here training, obviously not with our coaches, but with other players who live here. And yeah, so just looking forward to staying consistent and just bringing other people along with you. It makes it more fun too and more productive for our team in general to build for next year.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time that you took to talk to us here today, and good luck in your games this weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you for watching the Warrior Report. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.